Have you ever noticed how people often jump to conclusions when they see an older man with a much younger woman? Some immediately assume it is about money. Others assume it is about manipulation. Some believe it is true love, while others believe it can never be genuine. The truth is far more complicated than the stories we tell ourselves. Human relationships are rarely driven by one motive. They are shaped by psychology, personal history, emotional needs, social expectations, life experiences, and individual values. That is why understanding the psychology behind age gap relationships requires us to move beyond stereotypes and ask deeper questions. Why do some older men specifically pursue younger women instead of women their own age? What emotional needs, beliefs, or psychological patterns might influence that preference? And why do these relationships succeed for some people while becoming unhealthy for others? The answers are not simple because human attraction has never been simple. One of the first psychological factors is the desire to feel youthful. Aging changes not only the body, but also the way many people see themselves. For some men, growing older brings confidence and wisdom. For others, it creates anxiety. They begin comparing themselves to younger generations, worrying about lost opportunities, changing appearances, and the passage of time. A younger partner may become associated with feeling energetic, admired, or relevant again. It is important to understand that this does not automatically mean the relationship is dishonest. Sometimes people genuinely connect despite an age difference. However, if someone seeks younger partners primarily to escape the emotional reality of aging rather than to build a healthy relationship, that motivation deserves careful reflection. Another important factor is admiration. Younger adults may sometimes view older individuals as experienced, accomplished, or emotionally stable. Receiving that admiration can be deeply rewarding for someone whose self-esteem depends heavily on external validation. When a person constantly seeks relationships that reinforce their sense of importance, the attraction may be less about genuine emotional compatibility and more about protecting their own self-image. Healthy relationships allow both people to grow together. Unhealthy ones are often built on one person needing constant admiration while the other provides it. Power dynamics also deserve attention. Experience often creates an imbalance in knowledge, finances, career stability, or emotional confidence. That imbalance does not automatically mean exploitation exists. Many couples navigate age differences with mutual respect and equality. However, when someone intentionally seeks partners with significantly less life experience because they believe those partners will be easier to influence, less likely to challenge them, or more willing to tolerate unhealthy behavior, the relationship begins to shift away from equality. Psychological maturity is not determined by age alone, but large differences in experience can affect communication, expectations, and decision-making. Some older men also describe feeling less judged by younger partners. They may believe women closer to their own age know too much about relationships, recognize unhealthy behaviors more quickly, or have clearer expectations. Whether this belief is accurate is another question entirely. Sometimes it reflects personal insecurity rather than reality. A person who avoids emotionally mature partners because they fear accountability may not actually be looking for peace. They may be looking for comfort without challenge. Growth often requires being with someone who can respectfully question us rather than simply agree with everything we say. Life history plays a significant role as well. Someone who experienced rejection, divorce, loneliness, or emotional neglect may begin searching for relationships that feel different from previous ones. Instead of examining unresolved emotional wounds, they may convince themselves that changing the age of their partner will solve deeper psychological problems. Unfortunately, emotional baggage rarely disappears simply because the relationship looks different on the surface. Without self-awareness, old patterns often repeat regardless of who the partner is. Biology is sometimes mentioned in discussions about attraction, but biology alone never explains human behavior. Physical attraction exists across many different circumstances, yet healthy relationships require much more than attraction. Respect, emotional safety, shared values, trust, communication, and mutual responsibility are what allow relationships to survive difficult seasons. When biological explanations are used to justify treating someone as a status symbol or object rather than a complete human being, psychology reminds us that emotional maturity should always come before instinct. Media and culture also influence perceptions of attractiveness. Movies, advertisements, and social media frequently celebrate youth while portraying aging as something to resist. Over time, these messages can shape beliefs about beauty, worth, and relationships. If someone spends decades absorbing the idea that youth equals happiness, they may unconsciously begin pursuing younger partners because they associate youth with success and fulfillment. Yet, psychological research consistently shows that long-term relationship satisfaction depends far more on emotional compatibility, kindness, shared goals, and effective conflict resolution than on appearance alone. There are also cases where the age difference is simply incidental. Two adults meet through work, shared interests, education, or mutual friends, and discover genuine compatibility. Neither person was specifically searching for someone older or younger. Their emotional connection developed naturally. It is important not to assume unhealthy motives simply because an age gap exists. Every relationship should be evaluated based on how the people treat each other rather than on age alone. At the same time, younger adults should pay close attention to behavior rather than charming words. Respect is demonstrated through consistency, honesty, and healthy boundaries. Someone who encourages independence, respects personal goals, welcomes questions, and accepts accountability is behaving very differently from someone who isolates a partner, dismisses concerns, or uses experience to gain control. Emotional intelligence is revealed over time, not during impressive first conversations. Another psychological pattern involves identity. Some individuals build their identity around appearing successful, powerful, or desirable. For them, a younger partner may become part of a public image rather than a private relationship. The danger appears when the relationship becomes more about maintaining status than nurturing emotional intimacy. Healthy love allows both people to feel seen as individuals, not as symbols that enhance another person's reputation. Communication often reveals the true health of any relationship. Can both people disagree safely? Can both express needs without fear? Are decisions made together? Does each person's future matter equally? These questions are much more meaningful than simply asking how many years separate two birthdays. Emotional equality matters far more than numerical equality. Many people also underestimate the influence of unresolved emotional development. Some adults reach financial success while remaining emotionally immature. Instead of learning vulnerability, conflict resolution, and self-reflection, they continue relying on avoidance or control. Choosing significantly younger partners may sometimes delay confronting these emotional limitations because the relationship initially feels easier. Yet, emotional growth cannot be postponed forever. Eventually, every relationship requires honesty, accountability, empathy, and mutual respect. For younger women, understanding psychology can become a powerful form of protection. Confidence should never require giving up independence. Affection should never require silence. Kindness should never require accepting disrespect. A healthy partner encourages growth instead of limiting it. They celebrate education, friendships, personal goals, and emotional independence, rather than seeing them as threats. Likewise, older men who pursue younger partners with sincere intentions also carry responsibility. Genuine maturity means recognizing the potential influence of experience and ensuring that respect remains the foundation of the relationship. Transparency, patience, fairness, and emotional accountability become even more important whenever differences in age, experience, or financial stability exist. Ultimately, the question is not whether an age gap relationship is automatically right or automatically wrong. The more meaningful question is whether both people are free to make informed choices, communicate honestly, maintain healthy boundaries, and grow together without manipulation or fear. Age can influence a relationship, but character determines its quality. Emotional maturity, empathy, respect, and integrity remain the strongest predictors of lasting connection, regardless of the number of years between two people. The most overlooked truth is that attraction alone cannot sustain a relationship. Attraction can begin a conversation, but it cannot carry two people through disappointment, illness, financial hardship, personal change, or emotional conflict. Those moments expose the true foundation of every relationship. An older man who genuinely values a younger woman will not simply admire her appearance or youth. He will respect her opinions even when they differ from his own. He will encourage her ambitions instead of expecting her world to revolve around him. Likewise, a younger woman who genuinely values an older partner will appreciate his character, emotional stability, and integrity rather than seeing him only as a source of security or status. When both people see each other as complete human beings instead of symbols that satisfy personal needs, the relationship has a much stronger chance of becoming healthy and lasting. Psychologists often discuss something called emotional dependency. This occurs when one partner begins relying on the other to fill every emotional gap in their life. In relationships with significant age differences, this dependency can sometimes develop more easily if one person controls most of the resources, experience, or decision-making. The relationship slowly shifts from partnership to dependence without either person noticing it. One partner begins asking for permission instead of expressing preferences. Small decisions become controlled by one voice. Confidence is gradually replaced with self-doubt. This process rarely happens overnight. It happens through countless small moments where independence quietly disappears. Healthy love moves in the opposite direction. It makes both individuals stronger, more confident, and more capable of standing on their own feet while choosing to walk together. There is also an important psychological concept known as idealization. At the beginning of many relationships, people naturally see each other through a positive lens. A younger woman may believe that an older man has all the answers simply because he has lived longer. At the same time, an older man may assume youth automatically brings excitement, optimism, or emotional simplicity. Both assumptions are incomplete. Age does not guarantee wisdom, and youth does not guarantee happiness. Every individual carries strengths, insecurities, dreams, fears, and unresolved struggles, regardless of the year they were born. The moment we stop seeing a person as a real human being and begin seeing them as an idea, disappointment becomes almost inevitable because reality eventually replaces fantasy. Another pattern appears when someone constantly searches for admiration instead of intimacy. Admiration feels exciting because it feeds the ego. Intimacy feels different because it requires honesty. Admiration says, "Tell me how impressive I am." Intimacy says, "See me completely, including my flaws." Many people are comfortable receiving admiration, but deeply uncomfortable with true intimacy because intimacy demands vulnerability. An older man who constantly seeks younger partners for admiration may unknowingly be avoiding the emotional work required to build a relationship between equals. Eventually, every relationship reaches the point where charm fades, routines develop, and everyday life replaces excitement. At that moment, emotional maturity becomes far more valuable than attraction. Respect is another factor that deserves careful attention. Respect cannot be measured by expensive gifts, luxurious vacations, or impressive promises. It is measured by everyday behavior. Does the person listen without interrupting? Do they apologize when they make mistakes? Can they accept constructive criticism without becoming defensive? Do they celebrate the other person's success even when it has nothing to do with them? These ordinary moments reveal character far more accurately than dramatic romantic gestures. Manipulative people often create extraordinary first impressions while struggling with ordinary acts of respect. Emotionally healthy people may appear less dramatic at first, but their consistency creates trust over time. One of the strongest indicators of psychological health is whether both partners continue growing as individuals after entering the relationship. A healthy relationship should expand your world, not shrink it. It should encourage learning, meaningful friendships, professional development, emotional resilience, and personal confidence. If someone's life becomes smaller, more isolated, or increasingly controlled after entering a relationship, it is worth asking difficult questions about whether love is truly present or whether dependency has quietly taken its place. Love should never require the abandonment of identity. It should provide enough emotional safety for both people to become even more authentic versions of themselves. Before you judge any relationship by the number of years between two people, look deeper. Ask whether there is respect, honesty, emotional maturity, and freedom. Age itself is neither a guarantee of wisdom nor a sign of manipulation. Character is what matters. A healthy relationship is never built on control, fear, dependency, or the need to prove something to the world. It is built on trust, equality, accountability, and genuine care. The strongest people do not look for someone who is easier to control. They look for someone they can grow with. And the wisest partners never ask you to sacrifice your identity in exchange for their affection. If someone truly values you, they will protect your confidence, encourage your independence, and celebrate your growth. Remember this. Real love does not make you smaller. It makes you stronger. It does not silence your voice. It gives you the confidence to use it. At the end of the day, the healthiest relationship is not the one with the biggest age gap or the smallest age gap. It is the one where both people leave each conversation with more peace than fear, more trust than doubt, and more respect than control. Choose the person whose character remains strong long after charm fades, because beauty changes, youth fades, and time moves on. But integrity, kindness, and emotional maturity are the qualities that make love endure.